Welcome to The Whole Elephant. Thanks so much for being here. If this is your first time joining us on this little journey of this podcast, The Whole Elephant comes from the poem The Blind Men and the Elephant, where 6 blind men are asked to describe an elephant, and they all just describe the elephant based on the one body part that they grab first. And so this is my own personal journey, and hopefully we're kind of all on this journey together of trying to see the whole elephant in life. My guest today is Tish Cyrus, and I think this is a perfect example of not seeing the whole elephant. We see the Cyrus family all the time. They all have a part in culture, but we only see their lives through the lens of media, or even through the lens of the art that they put out. We don't see everything that there is about the Cyrus family. And so having Tish on, I wanted to talk about what it's like being mom and manager at the same time, and what it's like behind the scenes when your husband's career kind of out of nowhere has this huge bump in success. What is that like for you when that happens? And trying to get a better picture on the whole elephant of what that's like. So I'm so glad you're here joining us, and I hope you enjoy the chat. Hey, Tish, how are you?
I am so good. I'm actually I've been in Nashville since we got here December 10th.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually the longest I've been out of California for a very long time. So it's been kind of refreshing.
Yeah. Are you just more settled in there? Is it a nicer place to quarantine? What kept you out there?
I think so. One thing is Billy Ray and I, like last March, he had to fly back to Nashville to do an event for a friend of ours, and COVID hit hard. And so neither one of us were willing to fly because we were both terrified to fly commercial. And so he
Sure.
got stuck in Nashville and I was in LA, and I had not seen him for 9 months, and we've never, ever in our entire marriage ever gone 9 months without seeing each other.
Yeah.
And it was really a struggle and really hard. And a lot of things happened in that year. And so I think because COVID got so bad in LA that when the rest of the family went back after Christmas, I stayed behind, and it's been amazing because Billy Ray and I actually have taken these 2 months to just really spend as much quality time together as we can. And it's been amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. How has COVID been for you, having to quarantine? Have you been able to keep busy? Have projects shut down? Have projects started up? Well, how has that been for you? And I know that I'm so sorry to hear you lost your mom in all the craziness of 2020. So it's been a rough one.
It really has. And I think I've talked about this a lot actually on my podcast, that I always had a real fear of being alone and living alone, or it was just always a fear of mine. And honestly, my 2 biggest fears ever in my life has been losing my mom and
Mm-hmm.
being alone. And with COVID brought both of those things. And it's been a tough year, but I also I struggle on losing my mom so much every single day. But I've also felt like I've had this huge growth period personally because I had to be alone. I didn't have a choice. Billy Ray was stuck here, and I was even afraid to be around Miley and Noah, who also live in LA, because they were both having to work and do other things. And I stayed busy, but I also was very much alone for a long time. And as hard as it was, I really look back on it now and go, it was a huge fear that I conquered.
Mm.
Um, but then losing my mom was really tough, especially with
Yeah.
Billy Ray, being in California, and I mean in Nashville, and me and mom being in California. It's been tough. It really has.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, there's just been so many things like that people have had to struggle through. And doing funerals over Zoom, doing all those things has just been part of the tragic stuff that's been going on over the last
Yeah,
year.
it really was. And I think the worst part about it was I hadn't seen my mom in 6 months because of COVID.
Right.
Um, so they had shut down because she was in assisted living.
Hmm.
and I couldn't see her. And so it honestly, I still like, it's hard to believe it actually happened because I wasn't able, I hadn't seen her. And then
Right.
she was just gone.
Right.
And it really just was the worst possible situation. And, now that it's been enough time where I can look on it and feel so blessed that I had her as long as I did,
Right.
um, and see people that are losing people during COVID that, my mom was 85 and I got to have her for a very long time. And I'm so grateful for that. But it is just the worst. Is my biggest fear was losing her, and it's as bad as I thought it was.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah, she left a beautiful legacy for you and your kids. I mean, I
It
know
really
that
did.
she was a big part in everyone's life.
Huge. And just
Yeah.
such an incredible, loving, amazing, like she's like my hero. She was truly the best human being I think I've ever known.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, for COVID wise, have you been able to stay busy with projects and stuff like that? I mean, I would imagine that your family is one that has been able to keep projects going and figure out ways to stay busy.
You know what? I feel truly blessed by that is we really have somehow Miley actually put out, I feel like, her career record
Mm.
during all of this and has been able to promote it and shoot videos. It's been really hard. I have a production company called Hopetown,
Hmm.
and we produced her video to Midnight Sky. We did a whole behind the scenes video, little show for that. And then we also did a backyard sessions with MTV that we produced. And following all of the COVID restrictions and laws and it was nuts. And
Hmm.
somehow we actually did it very successfully. And we had no one that got COVID, during any of our shoots. But it was intense. And you're testing every single day. Every single person is being tested every day, which is has to be put into the budget. And then, just supplying masks and wash stations and really having someone like a COVID person there to make sure everybody's abiding by that. I mean, it was a lot, but we did it. And I feel like it's some of the best work we've ever done. And and then Noah, she put out music and ended up being nominated for Best New Artist this year. And
Yeah.
it just seems like with COVID, there were so many like hardships. And then there were so much that I'm proud of, especially with my girls. So, like it's been a pretty incredible year for them.
Yeah, all your kids have found their way into music or the media entertainment world at some point. I imagine when you married Billy Ray, you kind of knew what you were getting into. He was already in the spotlight. You kind of knew what that was going to be. Is that what you wanted? Is this what you wanted for your family? Is this what you envisioned that they would all kind of choose that same path?
Okay, it's so funny because when I met Billy Ray at first, I mean, he had never even had a record out. And
Mm,
so when I met him, he was just playing a little bar in Kentucky and
got it.
he
Got
was
it.
making a record and he had already gotten a record deal, but he hadn't had a record come out yet. And even before I met Billy Ray, I just loved music. I've actually been thinking about writing a book about my story because I don't think people really like it. And I didn't even really what my journey had become because my mom, she was such a little entrepreneur and she had a ticket master
Hmm.
within a store that they had. My parents did home improvement. They had a car stereo store, and within that car stereo store, they had a Ticketmaster. And
Mm,
so I loved helping my mom. Like my senior year, I sold tickets through Ticketmaster with my mom, and would go and listen to music all around the area. And I literally just had such a passion for music and concerts and live music. And I was a dancer. My mom had me dancing from the time I was 3 until I graduated high school. And so music was always such a huge part of me. But I don't think I realized when I did meet Billy Ray and fall in love with him that this would be our life.
yeah.
Like, like having Achy Breaky Heart do what it did was just insane for
Yeah.
two kids from Kentucky, like Ashland and Flatwoods, Kentucky. But it was such a ride, and I think I enjoyed the behind the scenes of it so much that when the kids were younger, Billy Ray wanted us around all the time. So we would find roles for them and things that he did. Like Noah
Right.
and Miley were both on his show, Doc.
Mhm.
And so somehow I just ended up kind of, I don't know, it just somehow became who I was and what
Yeah.
I love to do. And now it is, I kind of am behind the scenes and still manage Molly and Noah, and I have a production company and manage help with Billy Ray. And so really like it's just become who I am and I love it so much.
Yeah. Well, obviously Miley's career of the kids was the first that kind of, took off. What was it like in those early days of her career to be mom slash manager, but then you also had these other young kids that were just trying to be kids? What was it like to be mom in that role?
It was crazy because I had no idea what I was doing. And
How could anybody prepare for that?
well, the funny thing is, my friend, she went to church before they moved to Tulsa, Wendy Green.
Hmm.
And Wendy and Brian, their kids were in the business. Like they would come out to LA like every summer for pilot season.
Hmm.
And one year, Molly wanted to come with them, not to audition or anything, just to come to LA because she had never been.
Yeah.
And so Wendy brought Molly out. And when they went into Wendy and their kids' agents, the agent said, "Oh my gosh, who's this girl? We're obsessed. We love her. She's so cute. Can we send her out too?"
Hmm.
And that's really how it started. And as she auditioned for that, she was like number three, like down to three kids for a show called Shark Boy Lava Girl. And she ultimately didn't get it. And she came back to Nashville. And just a bit later, Disney reached out to ask her to audition for Hannah Montana.
Hmm.
And so it wasn't even something we were looking to do. We were just living life here in Nashville. She was on a competition cheerleading squad and it just happened. It was just definitely not something we ever even thought about. And somehow here we are.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Chris Jenner kind of coined the term momager. Is was
Mhm.
that kind of your behind the scenes role? I'm
It
in
is.
charge of these careers, but I'm also trying to just be mom. What is that like to kind of have that family and work crossover?
Um, it's it's so sad to me a lot because I see a lot of parents that do manage their kids, and I think it ends up pretty badly. I don't think a lot of people do it successfully. It's just, if you see like the Macaulay Culkins and Leanne Rhymes and all these people who have, sued their families and, it
Yeah.
really, I think there is a very fine line. And I think with me, honestly, when I came out here with Miley, I really set a lot of boundaries and had some serious, like, within my heart of things that I would want to do and not do. And also just like mom had to come first. Like I just
Sure.
really, because I saw everything that was happening out here and so many kids in the business and how that turns out. And so I really was mom and manager. And I just always had to remember that my role as mom had to come first.
Right.
And I tell a story a lot of times that, we were going to a meet and greet one time and Molly had on a belly shower and I
Mhm.
wouldn't let her go to the meet and greet. And, she was so mad at me. But there were so many times like that, I really had to be the mom first.
Right.
And then I brought on somebody at that time to co-manage with me so I could kind of, be more mom and make a lot of the bigger decisions, but also have somebody in there that felt more manager to kind of, just had a little bit of a line between mom and management.
Right. I mean, it's one thing to be mom of kids doing that. Is there an awkward transition where you're the mom of grown adults who are now ready to make their own decisions in their careers and stuff like that? Was that an awkward transition?
I think it is hard because as we all know who Miley is and has become in some ways, um, I still manage her. I manage her again. She's only had really the two managers that she's been with for a very long time. The one that she was with until she was 16 and actually she was more like I guess she was 17. And then the manager she's still with today that I co-manage with. And, you know, Molly really started pushing the boundaries. And that, like I said, like when I was really, before she had a mind of her own, it was, you know, very much like you're not going to meet and greet because you have on a belly shower. And then to kind of also like loosen the reins and let them be who they truly are. And my biggest thing is with Molly and all of my kids is no matter what, I love them and I like want them to be who they are and love them through it all. And I think, you know, with every child, you go through these stages. And so many times, you know, there were like people that would reach out and be, you know, or on social media, where's her mother? Where's the parent? And all this. And, you know, I wanted to be like right here, loving her every step of the way. And now that Molly, she's 28 now, and she just like knows who she is and is confident. And I'm so proud of who she is. And she's just, it's so funny because people think they have this idea of who Molly is. But Molly is a very incredible, just solid woman now. Like, you know, and I learned so much from her. But she's just like she amazes me every single day. And sometimes I'm like, wait, how, like I did that, like how did I also instill in her, you know, who I am and my values, but also allow her to be who she is and stand for, you know, what she believes in. And I think, you know, that I did that, and I'm really so proud of her.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Your family also had kind of a crazy thing happen recently. A somewhat unknown artist named Lil Nas X writes a song called Old Town Road. And Billy Ray, there is no way that anyone could have predicted what that song did. I mean, literally one of the biggest songs in the history of the universe.
Ever.
And I mean, like we kind of see what happens to Billy Ray when something like that happens. All of a sudden, he's got to go to the award shows. He's got to make the appearances. How does it change your life when something like that happens? And did you guys see it coming? There's no way you could have seen it coming.
It's so funny. Every morning we have coffee together, and we were sitting in LA having coffee one morning. And Molly's other manager hit me up and said, hey, I have this song and I think it's amazing. And this kid, Little Nas X, has it out on, I think it was a gaming thing. I don't even know what it was really. And he was like, but he loves Billy Ray and, you know, would just love to get Billy Ray on this song. And it's actually already charting. And I can't remember exactly how it went. He was like, but if you like it and you want to play it for Billy Ray, let me know what you think. And Billy Ray was sitting there. And so I played it and we both were like we loved it, you know, like we're out dancing and and I was like, yes, yes, yes. And Billy Ray goes, how soon can I cut it? But the biggest thing is that, you know, the country music charts wasn't allowing it to be considered country. So Billboard had taken it off the country charts. And I think that hit such a nerve with Billy Ray is because when Billy Ray came on the scene, because he had long hair and Reeboks instead of short hair and a cowboy hat, he was very much treated that way as well. You know, this isn't country and we're not going to let you be a part of the club. Right. And so I think he just felt like he saw that being done again and loved this song and was like, you know, I want to help this kid. And so we met Nas, and him and Billy Ray just immediately had this incredible connection. And, you know, this was a kid that was living on his sister's couch and had zero, like nothing. And all of a sudden he's becoming the biggest star in the world, which also happened to Billy Ray. And I just think that all those underlying things that they'd both been through really just made them have such an incredible connection. And I think you feel it in the song.
Yeah, for sure. Does it change your life when something like that pops up?
Yes, so much. And, you know, like also me at that time trying to juggle Molly and Noah's career. And then Billy Ray's got the biggest song in the world. And it's so funny because I forget, I think it was Molly that had a song out that Billy Ray blew right past. And it was like, oh my gosh, you know, it's like so weird. And, but I'm not a big award show girl. Like I'm kind of a homebody, and I kind of Award shows are like my biggest nightmare. I hate
Yeah.
getting dressed up. I hate the spotlight. I hate everything about award shows. I don't know why, it's just a thing. And so that year I had to do a lot of award shows. I had to go to Rolling Loud in Miami, which was a blast and so bizarre. And we really got to do so many things normally we wouldn't be doing. So that part of it was fun.
Yeah.
But it was a crazy year. And I think it made COVID and the lockdown even harder because Billy Ray was just riding this wave and, back on the road and just feeling really, having so much fun, like
Yeah.
coming out at Rolling Loud, which this 58-year-old man coming out on Rolling Loud was just so phenomenal. And
Yeah.
then playing Stagecoach and all these other things, to just everything shutting down and having nothing.
Mhm.
And I think, that's a struggle.
For sure. For sure. We only see your family kind of through the lens of your art, your family art, and media. What do you think is the biggest misconception or something that we don't know or see about your family?
Misconception. I honestly don't know, because I honestly feel like we just really are. I was talking about this. I was on a call with someone a little bit ago that was actually pitching a show idea to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we are all kind of such open books. And like with Molly being only 12 when she started Hannah Montana, and Billy Ray and I, the kind of the whole, it's all never been just like one person of our family kind of out there. Like, Brandy is out there with, she has a podcast with Wells Adams and is a DJ, and she's always kind of in the spotlight. And then Trace and Metro Station, I guess Brazen's the most private one of us. But I feel like people kind of really do know who we are. And
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know that there's much to know that we kind of haven't put out there, which is weird.
Right. No, that makes sense.
You
A big
know?
part of a big part of my podcast and this journey of doing it is trying to figure out my own faith and what I believe and what I don't believe, and what I grew up with, and what I still believe from that and what I don't, and all these things. What is faith, God, spirituality? What is that all meant to you over the course of your life?
Oh my gosh, everything. And I've already bawled my face off all morning about my mom. That's like just a daily, usually, maybe not every day now, but every other.
Yeah.
And I think this morning, Billy Ray and I were talking. Actually, a few mornings ago, Billy Ray and I sat around this dining room table that I'm setting out now, and we were just playing worship songs, and I was crying. And it honestly wasn't even sad tears about my mom. I literally looked at him that day and said, I'm the luckiest person that's ever been born. I feel that way because I truly was just handed into the arms of an angel. And I'm not like, it sounds like so silly, but when I tell you that my mom's faith and her love for Jesus was like mind blowing, like it just was. And there was such an unwavering, I love Jesus. I believe in the Bible. I believe what it says. And that's that. And that's how I was raised. And I'm so glad that's the way I was raised, because now I'm glad we're talking about this, because, I think that's kind of where I was going about letting Miley and Noah, and that they all do their own things. And I think they do push the boundaries a lot. And that's been hard for me sometimes, like really hard. But I had to get to a place and know that now that Noah's also 21, they have to decide they believe in Jesus and all these things, but I think I have a different relationship with Jesus because of my mom.
Right.
And I think too, they question a lot of things and, read things, and like growing up in California, I think that they think of faith in different ways than I do, maybe because I'm very one of those persons that like, I believe what the Bible says. I love Jesus. Like it's just very black and white.
Yeah. You were raised in kind of the Southern Bible Belt. This is what it is. There's no other thing. This is what you believe, and this is what you go with. That's it.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the great thing about it is for me that I actually love now is because sometimes I get down on myself too, that feel like that I could do more and be better and all these things. And like, just as a Christian and,
Sure.
telling the world about Jesus. But I also know that everybody around me knows at my core that's who Tish Cyrus is.
Mm.
And two of Molly's friends that have been in her life for a long time, one's a photographer for her, and one does all her styling. And this Christmas, and I think it was a lot because my mom had passed, they got me the most massive, most beautiful antique Bible I've ever seen.
Mm.
And when they handed it to me, I literally they had to think I was nutso because I
Yeah.
just started sobbing. And like I could not catch my breath. And I think it's because they really know that's who I am. And I feel like that even though I don't realize that I am, trying to lead people to the Lord, that I really am because that they just like it was just a special moment. And
Yeah.
I think that that's the biggest thing that and the gift I got from my mom is my faith and that now that I can truly believe that I'm going to see her again. And
Sure.
I always when people don't believe, I'm like, but why wouldn't you? Like if I'm right,
Yeah.
why would you not just want to believe that or believe in something?
Mm.
But I think my faith is the most important thing.
Yeah. What do you take from your mom that you want to try to emulate for your kids? What do you hope your kids say about you?
That I truly treated everyone with just that I always really truly came from a place of love and
Mm.
that I really did treat other people exactly how I wanted to be treated
Yeah.
because that is literally my mom instilled that into me from such an early age, and it
Right.
really was about how we treat each other. And I
Yeah.
think that I think that people that even work with my kids, like people that Molly will be on set with, I think when Molly leaves that set, they're gonna be like, wow, like
Yeah.
she was incredible. She treated every single solitary person down to whoever's doing catering or what the exact same way that she treated the director or another. I really want my kids to be that and they are.
Right. And I mean, through all the searching that your kids do, through trying different religions, through, believing in Jesus, not believing in Jesus, whatever. I mean, that is the example of who Jesus was. And
Yeah,
if that's what they're learning from you, throw out all the religions, throw out all the stuff that doesn't make sense, but that's a beautiful thing for them to learn on a spiritual level. And I mean,
absolutely.
why would you want to believe in any kind of religion or faith-based thing that doesn't make you a better person to other humans? I think that's a beautiful
Exactly.
thing.
Yeah. That I think that is too. And my mom was like that. Like my mom, she was literally in her entire life, I never heard her say a cuss word. I've never seen her take a drink of alcohol. She was just like solid,
Yeah.
just solid. And that like she like read the upper room. That was her thing, the upper room, and just
Yeah.
I don't know. She just was so I mean, she honestly, if she was around, she was just such a light and just
Yeah.
so she really was. And
Yeah.
I really want that to be my legacy and who I am is that anyone that had ever been around me could say, like, I was just like the nicest and most gracious person to them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's all I've ever experienced from you. I am so grateful for you coming on and taking the time out of your busy day to do this. I know you have a lot of stuff to go do, but I do want to know what you're excited about. What do you have coming up? What projects are in the works? What are you excited about coming up?
I am super excited about a lot of things. And the
Mm.
first thing is I'm leaving Nashville on in like a week to go because Molly's playing the pre-Super Bowl party.
Mm.
And it's for all the healthcare workers, 7,500 healthcare workers that have been vaccinated get to come to the Super Bowl. And Molly's going to put on a whole 90-minute show for them.
Oh, that's
Um,
awesome.
right before the Super Bowl. And I think that's going to be so fun. And that is something I do love too about this business is the times that we do give to get to give back like that. It's just so cool that we're going to see all these healthcare workers that have really just been in the throes of COVID getting to come and have an hour and a half of just fun. So I'm super excited about that. And my production company, we are working on several scripted and unscripted things right now that that I'm really super excited about and feel like, this is kind of my second act. My kids are, Noah just turned 21 this year, and I finally feel like I have really just dedicated my entire life to the kids. And I've had to do that. I've done that with 5, including Billy Ray's 6. And so I'm really trying to just now do things that I enjoy and just to have a second act, and we'll see what that is. I don't even know yet.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate it so much. Blessings to you and your family and everything you guys are doing.
Awesome. Thanks, Eric.